bill is actually going to be counterproductive. It will not prevent trafficking because it has no provision for the prevention of trafficking. There are no budgets earmarked for the most marginalized women and girls who are Adivasis, Dalits, backward castes, backward class communities, scheduled castes. There is no mention of the word sexual exploitation or the prostitution of others as an offence in the bill. Now, what is the point of having a trafficking bill which does not even mention the main outcome of trafficking in India? 60% of those trafficked in India are trafficked for the prostitution of them, and they are trafficked for the purposes of sexual exploitation, yet that is missing. I want the punishment of sex buyers as per the Nordic model to be included in the bill, because they are the ones driving the industry. It's a customer who tells pimps, I want a young girl, I want a fair-skinned girl, I want a voluptuous girl, and then the trafficker goes and finds her in a caste ghetto, a slum, in the villages, among indigenous communities in the northeast. And so this is what's happening. Rehabilitation is so limited. It is shoving women into shelters. All the 20,000 victims and girls at risk that I have met in the last 20 years in India and internationally, not one of them wants to live in a shelter. We know the condition of our shelters, right? So they need individualized exit strategies. This bill will confuse people, and so what will happen is that in the Immoral Traffic Prevention Act, there's a good framework for prevention, because it talks about the prostitution of others. It talks about the fact that living off the earnings of somebody selling a body for sex is a crime. So we can actually go after pimps and brothel keepers under that phrase. Also, there is some budget earmarked for prevention and for rehabilitation, which is not just shelter based. But this bill will confuse people, and it will also help corrupt police officers. You know, this bill does not have any punishment for perpetrators. There is no mention of the word sex buyer, even though India is a signatory to the UN protocol. And in the UN protocol, it is clearly beholden on countries to go after the demand for prostitution. The demand for prostitution is formed of the business and the buyer. It's the buyer who drives the industry. So we really need the sex buyer to be punished. So my first recommendation in this bill is to include sexual exploitation and the prostitution of others an aggravated offence in the new bill. My second recommendation is to earmark budgets for that last girl, the most vulnerable of all human beings, for her food, clothing, shelter and education, livelihood skill training and legal protection through the Panchayati Raj system, which knows her and which can track her if she goes missing.